Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I'm your host, Gabe Peterson, and this is the place investors go to gain actionable advice, learn about current market trends, and hear war stories from other professional investors out there in the field today. Before we get started, I have two quick housekeeping items for you. First, if you like this episode, we would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and share. It is the best way to support the show and keep it running far into the future. Second, if you're a new investor looking to get started in real estate or an experienced investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you that will cover how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance those deals with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. On top of that, I throw in an insane amount of free bonuses that you'll have access to once you buy the ebook. All I charge is our admin costs to keep this show running. So if you're serious about real estate investing and want to create both active and passive income as an investor, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com and click on the button that says get the ebook in the upper right-hand corner to grab yourself a copy. With that said, let's dive right in. Today we have a very special guest with us, ready to drop some investor knowledge on you. So buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right. We are live with another episode of the Pursuing Greatness podcast. Today we have with us Scott Aaron. Scott is an internationally acclaimed and award-winning online marketer, 2 times best-selling author, podcaster, and speaker. He is considered the go-to specialist when it comes to converting traffic, establishing connections, and creating residual income using LinkedIn and personal branding. I am super excited to have Scott here. Scott, thank you for hopping on the show today. How are you?
Doing great, Gabe. Thank you so much, and just really grateful to be here today.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I always start with stories. I like to kind of hear where people came from because we all have so many unique and wonderful stories. So why don't you take us to the beginning, kind of tell the listeners real quickly how you got started, what you do today.
Yeah, so I will, for sake of time, I will give you the Cliff Notes version of the last 23 years. I'm 41 now, just turned 41 in April. I started in entrepreneurship when I was 18. So the way so I always tell people I've been psychologically unemployable since day one. So I've never had a boss. I've only worked for myself. I did graduate from college. I went to college full time and was working full time.
Oh, nice.
So kind of balance that. The way that I got into entrepreneurship and the family business that we ended up having for nearly 16 years was health clubs. I had two gyms in downtown Philadelphia, and I had one on the outskirts of Philadelphia. My father was the one that actually spearheaded the fitness movement within our family. Nice. But when I was 18, almost 19, with a prior company that he was working for, they ended up getting under investigation with the federal government for insurance fraud, which ended up landing my father in federal prison for 2.5 years. Man. So when that happened, basically he said, listen, you got to take over the gym. You got to support your mom and your sister. So I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to lead people, but you know, the best way to learn how to do something is when you're thrown into it with having to learn on your own. So just to make a long story short, it was a very up and down 16 years in the health and wellness industry. I was a very successful personal trainer, sports nutritionist. I did boot camps. I taught classes. You know, we sold the first 2 gyms for $1 million in 2003. So at 24, I became a millionaire. A year later, we opened up the 3rd and final gym, but because of my dad's past, my parents didn't have any credit to actually finance the 3rd and final gym. So that was all put on me. So I didn't really know what that meant, but I just signed on the dotted line, and I ended up accumulating about $1.5 million of liability debt from that about 6 years later. So on a personal level, I was married and divorced twice. The second marriage, none of those marriages were failures. They were absolute successes in so many ways. The second marriage landed me the greatest gift, which is my now 8-year-old little boy, Taylor. But also it really taught me the emotional maturity that was required to be a husband, to be a partner. And my wife and I just got married almost 2 months ago,
Oh,
and just
congratulations.
truly, thank you, just truly grateful for her. And in 2013 was when I really started to really shift the scope of what I was doing professionally. All I had known was to trade time for dollars as a personal trainer. And a friend of mine asked me a great question. He said, listen, if you got sick or injured where you couldn't train people or you couldn't get to the gym, how would you make money? And it's such a deep and meaningful question, because I don't think anyone ever thinks about their demise. They only think about the success they want to have. But I was one injury, I was one illness away from not being able to make money. So I then started to take a look at online marketing, and I jumped in with both feet, because I said, if I want to expand my nutrition empire, my wellness empire, I got to be able to connect with more people, and online is the best place for that. Within 4.5 years, I grew an online wellness practice that amassed $400,000 worth of income. It taught me so much about marketing yourself, about branding yourself, and about how to create money online, whether it's active or leveraged and residual, that I said, this is something that I can now teach others how to do as well. So there was one other obstacle, and it was this last gym. So I had a very successful online wellness practice, but I had also launched my coaching practice teaching LinkedIn, which is how I grew my business. I launched that in February of 2016. So I had these two successful businesses and this gym that was losing about $3,000 a month. And I remember I was sitting with my attorney, and I said, I just need to make a move. It's not serving me anymore. This was my father's dream. This was not my dream. And he said, well, you have two options. He said, option A is you continue to funnel the profits that you're making from your two businesses into the one that's not, or you file for personal bankruptcy. And the reason why his suggestion was personal bankruptcy is because I had signed a document years earlier that had me the guarantor of the lease of the gym, which means no matter if that gym succeeds or fails, I was responsible for all the financial
For the lease.
liability and whatever was owed to the lease. So whether it failed or succeeded, it didn't matter. I still had to pay it. And that was almost another $400,000 worth of debt. And it was a no-brainer. He said, you should absolutely file for Chapter 7. You have two successful businesses. This is not going to impact you. And he was right. So on July 1st of 2016, just about 4 years ago, I filed for personal bankruptcy, and I haven't looked back since. And so much has happened in the last 4 years. A marriage, a new house, 2 dream cars, just being present for my son and my wife, just so many wonderful things that one decision can truly change the outcome of your entire life. And the mission that I have now with everything that I teach, everything that I speak about in my books, everything that I speak about when I'm giving talks is all about those things. Your obstacles are the greatest lessons that you can learn, because those are the ones that catapult you to where you truly want to be. So that's basically the last 23 years in about 7 or 8 minutes.
No, it's great. And I love stories that are as up and down as the one that you just, relayed to us. Because that is kind of how my life's gone that way. Every successful person that I know, when you hear their story from, beginning to end, it's never straight. It's always up, then down, then up, then down. And you are not an exception here. And so I really like that you kind of went through the shit and you came out the other side, to speak with us today. And, I do want to really focus this episode on, your specialty, LinkedIn, marketing on LinkedIn. But there's a few things in your story that really stood out to me, specifically bankruptcy, because so many people, when you have your actual life that you don't want to lose, but then you have your financial life, and you feel like there's a possibility of a financial death, of just completely ruining yourself to the point of no return. And that comes in the form of bankruptcy. People, they hear bankruptcy and they tremble in their boots. Like that is the It's the worst thing that could possibly befall any human being in the financial realm. You've been there. You've come out the other side. You've shown that doesn't kill you financially. It's not the end of your life. So kind of take us, like, how has that been a good decision for you? And what were the things going into it that you thought were going to happen that later on you realize, I'm still here. I'm still making money. It's not the end of the world.
Well, I went into it with a positive outlook because I knew that if I didn't do something, I would never live the life I wanted to. You got to understand when your overhead is $13,000 a month, when you're drowning in leases, there was no way out. I mean, this gym was going to be my demise.
Right.
But because I always knew how to make money, I always knew how to make money. I have no issue starting something new. I have no issue launching something. My wife and I love creating new streams of income. It's just in our blood. It's in our DNA. So bankruptcy, it was just a thing. It wasn't forever. Mm-hmm. It's temporary.
Yep.
So, even with buying a house, I couldn't get a conventional loan, but I still got a loan. It was a little bit higher of an insurance rate or interest rate. But come 4 years, which is October 15th of this year, which is, only about 2 weeks away, I can actually refi into a traditional 30-year mortgage, which will lower my interest rate by 3 to 4%. So it was temporary. Yeah. And even the bankruptcy itself, after 7 years, it's gone. It's done, which is 3 years away, which isn't so it was 7 years. But think about everything that I've been able to do in the 4 years since. I bought a house. I've gotten car loans. I've gotten a credit card. There's been no issue. It's all what you make of it. So everyone puts this, there's a saying that says you haven't made it in business until you filed for bankruptcy at least once. And again, business bankruptcy, Chapter 11, Chapter 12 is completely different than Chapter 7. When you're filing for business bankruptcy, it doesn't really affect you personally, but I love sharing my story of bankruptcy because I can't tell you, Gabe, how many people reach out to me and just say thank you. Yep. Thank you for giving me permission to share that about myself, or giving me permission to talk about that with my lawyer. And I've had people actually go and file for bankruptcy after hearing my story because they knew that was the right decision, but they thought of what they thought was going to happen to them was not true. They don't realize that your life is not over financially when you file for bankruptcy. Yes. Is it a smudge of something on your credit report for a little while? Absolutely. My credit's still at 700 right now, which is higher than some people that have never filed for bankruptcy. So it's all how you perceive something that you're doing. And my perception of bankruptcy was that this was my springboard to living the best life possible.
Yep. No, I love that. And I really like both that you went into it with that perception, because that is so true. If you go into it thinking that this is the end of your life and then it happens and you stop taking action, then yes, it is the worst thing that's happened to you, but it's because you're the one that actually chose to stop taking action. You're the one that actually chose to stop moving forward. So I love that.
Well, I'll share one more thing. Gabe, I remember going in and, the way that, you fill out the paperwork for bankruptcy, and then you then have a discharge meeting with a district attorney, in the city of Philadelphia. So you have a hearing. It's a private hearing. And, they go over, the stipulations of what you're filing for bankruptcy for and the things that you're claiming, this, that, or the other. And it was great. Like, it was just such a freeing moment. It was 5 minutes. And I remember walking out and my lawyer put his arm around me and he said, "You're free." And it was such a weight that was lifted off of, like, just imagine carrying the financial burden these gyms for 16 years of my life.
Yep.
16
Every
years of my
day, it's a
life.
thing that kind of hangs out in the back of your mind.
Every day. So, literally from 1998, 18 years to 2016, that was it. That's all I knew. And the great thing is my father and I have become closer than ever because we're back to father and son. So, he was always my dad,
right?
But we were father and son from the time I was born till I was 18. And then from 18 until I was 36, 37, we were business partners. And I don't care what people say. When you go into business with your family, you do lose the family dynamic. You lose that personal connection to that person because it becomes all about business, because now your life is not just about being family. Your life is about making money to survive. And I can gladly and happily say that it was the best decision for the both of us to end these gyms, because now we're truly back to father and son again.
I love that. And I have not gone into business with my family yet. Who knows? I'm in real estate, so it's a little bit different than, owning a daily business. But I love that you kind of conveyed that story, because, I know a lot of people who do go into business with their family or are considering it. And it changes the dynamic. And so it's good to hear that you guys kind of got that back once you once you exited that business dynamic. You were able to get the familial, father-son relationship back in business.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I really like your story, so thanks for sharing that. I do want to move us a little bit along, because to go into your LinkedIn. Before we do, something that popped into my mind. One other note on the bankruptcy side. For people listening and watching, Scott's story is not the only one. Bankruptcy does not end you. The one thing that I actually read a while ago was about the Property Brothers. I'm sorry, I'm taking this into a tangent here. One of the Property Brothers went into bankruptcy. And real estate I'm in real estate. It's the business that you need to have credit. Like, of all the businesses, real estate's the one you really do. You need it. And that guy's he's still kicking ass, still doing well. So don't fear bankruptcy. Don't carry that shame. If you need to do it, just do it. It's an option. It's there for a reason. It's there to help people.
100. It was created to help people, not to hurt people.
Exactly. Perfect. So let's put that behind us. Let's go into the future, into where you are today, which is LinkedIn marketing. You've already mentioned you're kicking ass in online marketing. You've had a few businesses there, and now you're really trying to help people on the LinkedIn side. I've had a lot of background in digital marketing. I dabbled in LinkedIn, definitely not where you're at. So I'm excited to kind of hear your take on how to use LinkedIn to start or just grow an existing business to the next level.
Yeah. Well, I'll go first. I'll start with the two things that you should never do on LinkedIn. Number one, you do not need to hire a marketing company to help you with LinkedIn. You don't. That ends up just hurting you in the end. LinkedIn is most beneficial to solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, multipreneurs, small businesses, corporations, when you have yourself or the person that's running the marketing or branding natively doing everything themselves. Everything that I teach people takes about 15 minutes a day. So the fact everyone lives in this outsourcing type mindset that if I pay someone else to do it for me, it's going to create more money. I can't tell you how many horror stories I've heard from people that have hired marketing companies that actually have gotten their LinkedIn accounts blocked because of the way that they went about things. So I'm not saying that's all marketing companies, but you do not need to pay a marketing company to learn how to leverage LinkedIn without having to spend a ton of time on it. The second thing you should never do on LinkedIn is use any automated software. So people usually will hire a marketing company or they'll hire some sort of software that likes and comments and sends messages and connections to people. That is also another quick way to getting your account blocked on LinkedIn. So those are the two biggest no-nos. Now, as far as leveraging LinkedIn, I usually go over something called the layer cake of LinkedIn. It's 4 basic layers to understanding LinkedIn and how it can greatly impact your business and your brand. My wife and I have been able to scale our business to levels that we never thought, which also enabled us to launch an agency outside of it because of the traction, because of the amount of conversations that we've been able to have. I don't care what people say. The more organic leads that you can create, the more revenue can be created. So that the simple thing that people need to know in any business, I don't care what structure it is, I don't care if it's your business or you work for someone, there's 4 steps to create revenue: leads, conversations, conversions, revenue. It all starts with leads. If you do not have leads, you have no business. You don't need to pay for leads either. I've never paid for a lead, and I never will, because you create leads by creating human connection. So the first layer is optimizing your profile. And if anyone goes to my website, scottaaron.net, this is not a pitch, it's just a fact. There's a free download. It'll pop right up, and it's 6 steps to optimizing your profile. So what you have to understand is when Microsoft bought LinkedIn out about 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago, they embedded SEO, search engine optimization, which obviously, Gabe, you're familiar with, which makes you more visible not only on the platform of LinkedIn, but actually Yahoo and Google as well. So people are now using LinkedIn as a search engine. They're using it to look for people, whether they're in real estate or business coaching. So you need to make sure that fluttered throughout your entire profile, your headline, your About Me section, your experience section, your licenses and certifications, courses, all those things are related to the industry that you were and are in, of what people would be searching for. Because if you don't optimize your profile the right way, you are invisible and you will not have any conversations with anyone. So that's step 1. Step 2 is defining who your ideal avatar and customer is. So LinkedIn allows you 30,000 connections, 30,000 organic connections. So I've grown my network from about 500 to just about 28,000 in the last 3.5-4 years. Wow. So again, your net worth is in direct correlation to your network. So if you have a large network, you can create a large net worth. That's the simplest way to put it. Now, the question that I want the listeners to really think about is, on a piece of paper, write down the answer to this. Who is your ideal customer? Who is the person that's most likely going to buy your product, your service, your good? Who is that person? Whatever you're writing down on that piece of paper, not man or woman, write down the business title of that person. What industry are they a part of? Your network should be built around the people that are most likely going to buy from you or network with you, that have the most relatable connection without ever speaking to them before. You're always looking to connect with the mirror image of who you're looking to connect with. So when I was growing my online wellness practice, ideal people for me were other personal trainers, sports nutritionists, and gym owners that were looking to get into the online space like I did. So that was an easy conversation, because what I was doing, they wanted to do, but just didn't know how to do it. So then I started teaching them. So it's very simple. So you optimize your profile, you start building your network around the people that you'd have most relatable conversations with without knowing them. And then step 3 is messaging people. And this is typically where the wheels fall off. This is where literally, and Gabe, if you spent any time on LinkedIn, I'm sure you've been a victim of the 18-paragraph long drunkalogs that people send trying to pitch you and sell you, and click on this and watch this, schedule a call. They don't even
just close that conversation. Like,
they don't even care who you are.
Too many words to read, man.
Exactly. It's all about relationship building. So the fact is that I created something called the magic formula, which is 3 steps to creating and crafting a message that gets a very, very high response rate. Step 1 is mentioning the person's name. So, if you're in real estate investing, obviously, you're looking to connect with, commercial brokers. You're looking to connect with mortgage brokers. So, whoever you're looking to connect with, people that do rehab, fix and flips, real estate professionals. So if I was Gabe, basically I would go on to LinkedIn, and the first thing I would do, I would connect with people that were just like me, and I would send a message that sounds like this, hey Gabe, great to be connected to you. So you always mention the person's name and the fact that you're connected to them. The second step is I call lowering the drawbridge. So if people are familiar with a drawbridge, when it's up, it allows the boats to pass back and forth while the traffic waits on both sides. And then when the bridge lowers, obviously traffic can start flowing back and forth. So you need to lower that drawbridge so traffic can flow back and forth. So the second part of the message is doing just that. So I would say, I noticed that you also had a background in real estate, as do I. Would love to hear how things are going, share more about what I've been up to see how we can support each other here on LinkedIn. So I've done two things. Number one, I've lowered the drawbridge. So now Gabe's reading this message and he's like, oh, that makes sense. Scott's in real estate. I'm in real estate. I know the importance of networking with other people within the profession. That's why he's reaching out. But the second thing I did is I used the most important word in the English language, support. So it's been scientifically proven that when people read the word support and actually say it in their head, it creates a chemical release of something called oxytocin, which is our feel-good brain chemical. So just like cortisol, serotonin, dopamine, endorphins. So you feel good as you're reading this message. And the third and final part is a call to action, a CTA. You have to ask in order to get. You have to ASK to GET. So questions lead to answers, statements lead to nowhere. So I would basically finish just by saying, do you have any time this week or next week for a call or a Zoom? So you state their name, reason for reaching out by lowering the drawbridge, and then a call to action. Now, the fourth and the cherry on top is content creation. Right now, LinkedIn is having a Facebook 2012 moment. For those that don't know what that means, it means the engagement is the highest on social media on LinkedIn. The organic reach is highest on LinkedIn. The highest visibility organically is on LinkedIn. People just aren't leveraging it. So here's what you need to do. You need to produce 3 pieces of content at a minimum a week. That's it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is. 3 pieces of content, not 3 per day. 1 piece of content, 3 days a week. I don't care if it's an article, if it's a video, or just a post. No cat videos, no, TikToks or whatever people are doing out there. It's all about educating and informing your audience. So what are things that your audience need to know? How can you improve their life and their business by just over-delivering? Over-deliver on the value. You want to know how to gain more clients? Give more. Give more content, give more value, because if they see the high level value that you're providing for free, then they're going to start thinking, imagine if I actually invested in this person, how much more value I would get from them. So you don't sell, you don't pitch, you don't promote, you just give. You educate, you inform, you put yourself out there. I call this the push-pull method. The push is you organically reaching out to people to see if they want to talk. The pull is providing such value-added content that you slowly start bringing people closer to you. And to break things down very simply, those 4 things will absolutely get people started on LinkedIn.
I love it. And I 100% agree that LinkedIn is like where it's at today in terms of, organic reach, organic engagement, things like that. I actually used LinkedIn to start my, my other podcast, the Real Estate Investing Club. And so I have a little bit of experience here. And so I'm going to use my limited experience, because, you're a few steps above me, to kind of pull out a little bit more detail from you, because I love everything that you've said so far.
Thank you.
And for people who are listening, who have maybe a small business or anything like that, LinkedIn really can grow your business. I've used it successfully, and I'm not a genius at it. This guy is. So first thing, I committed the what was it? The number 1 no that you said not to do. I used an automation software when I first got started. I did get banned, they banned me, and then I called them. I was like, I'm sorry. and they reinstated me. Yeah. But I didn't do it after that. But while
they will do that. They will do that. I mean, I had a guy reach out to me. I did a training for a financial firm last week, and he goes, I fired the marketing firm that I was working with because they got me blocked on LinkedIn. I said, listen, just email customer service, explain to them what happened. And he emailed me the next day and he goes, thank you so much. They quickly responded. They unfroze my account and I'm allowed to access it again. So they're very, once they know that you've made a mistake by using software, they know that you'll never make that mistake again.
Perfect. So that kind of leads into my second question. The reason that I did that is that I wanted to message people in real estate and say, hey, I'm starting a podcast, would love to have you on. But I started finding that I couldn't message them until I was their friend, I think was the issue, or I was connected with them. So I was trying to figure out a way to not be on LinkedIn all day long, just clicking connect. And this is the solution. So what would you recommend someone do? They want to start reaching out to people. They don't have 10,000 connections. What is the first steps there?
Well, the first step is, defining the avatar, but to, send connections out, not a crazy amount. Don't send 40, 50, 60 connections a day. That's one way to get blocked.
Okay.
Just pick a comfortable number for you, where you send connections out to people that, if you want to grow a real estate podcast, send a connection request to real estate professionals. You don't have to add a note. You can just hit connect. When they do become a connection, if it's in the same day, do not send them a message, because the automated software is timed in the way that once they hit accept, it triggers them to send a message. So I always tell people, be a farmer, not a hunter. Hunters message right away. Farmers wait a couple days for, obviously, the seed to sprout. So make sure that the next day or two, you go in and you check your new connections and you send them a nice warm message about, I see you're in real estate, would love to have you on my real estate podcast. Are you open to coming on? And it's really that simple. So, and it doesn't take a lot of time. I still, to this day, only spend 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn. And it doesn't take a lot of time. It's very streamlined to hit the connect button. It's very streamlined to just type a couple messages out, and then you're off. You produce a piece of content and you're done for the day. And then you check it, every couple hours. If there's any activity, respond back to people that respond to maybe a post that you put out there or a video that you did. But just do it in a manageable way. Do it in a way where it's not creating overwhelm. It's not creating anxiety. It's not creating stress. It's actually fun.
Yep. Yeah. And I like, what kind of worked for me eventually was I kind of bookended, or I decided on times where I'm like, all right, I'll just do my goddamn social media, because I'm not inclined to do social media, but I know that you need to do it if you're in a business today. It's necessary, and if you don't have somebody that's on your team dedicated to that, you got to do it yourself. So I just started booking. I think it was like a half hour every day. Since then I've changed, but a half hour every day, just to kind of engage with everything that's gone on. So I just want to real quick go over the structure that you had. So you start out with creating your avatar, correct?
You start out with your profile, making sure that it's optimized the right way. And I did release a new book earlier this month. It was the #1 new release in 5 different categories. And my first bestseller was called The LinkedIn Book for Network Marketing. Teaching people how to network and market themselves on LinkedIn. The follow-up to that, which I just released, is called the Marketing Workbook for LinkedIn. So it's actually a physical workbook.
He's getting.
So this is the workbook. I mean, it's only 46 pages, but basically it goes through and it walks you through everything that you need to do. There's examples of, messages, connecting points, and I even left areas where you can actually fill in the blanks. So this is, to help get you started, write down some search examples of who the best people you should connect with. And there's areas where you can actually fill that in yourself. So it's called the Marketing Workbook for LinkedIn. It's on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle or paperback. It's so much better to get it on paperback because it's something that you can fill out and you can go back and take notes. And it's only 46 pages. So that will really help people get started. But obviously the profile, and then building that network of the right avatar. And then when you start connecting with the right people, then messaging them in a genuine way. And then as you're doing the connecting and messaging, then providing value added content to the people that you're bringing into your network. So it's a whole cycle and system that needs to be followed.
Perfect. I love it. Well, hey, Scott, I just noticed we have flown through the time, so I got to push us into the end of the episode. But I really do appreciate everything you shared about LinkedIn. I know LinkedIn's helped me a bunch. It helped me launch my podcast. So people listening, LinkedIn really does work. And Scott's the master here. So go check out his book. Check out his website. I will ask that question in a second. And so let's just get into it. I'm going to push us into the final round, which is the quick question round, and that starts with books. I'm a big fan of books, so I like to ask people their favorite book in two categories: one, general life wisdom, and one, the topic that you're discussing, which for you would be marketing or business. So give us those recommendations.
Yeah, so more life, personal development, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. First money mindset book ever written in 1910. So any money mindset book that you have read since is based off of this book, so you do not need to read any of them anymore. Go back to the foundational blueprint for how to get rich, and that's living in a world of creation and collaboration instead of a world of competition and comparison. So all the books are following the lead of Wallace D. Wattles in that.
Yeah, that's a great book too.
Yeah, I just did a training on it with an academy that I have. And then as far as in what industry and field I'm in, Go for No by Andrea Waltz and Richard Fenton, the original book, not the one for network marketing. Andrea has since become a good friend of mine. She's been on my podcast. We've had multiple calls offline. And it says yes is the destination, but no is how you're going to get there. So it teaches you that the higher of a failure quotient that you have, the more successful you're going to become. Because the more no's that you accrue, the more yeses start to show up. So instead of going for yes, you go for no. The more no's you have, the more yeses are waiting behind that door. So those are my two favorite books that I always live by.
Perfect. I love it. Next question is about habits. Habits are the foundation of our life. So I like to ask people, if you could look at your life and kind of point to one habit that you feel has contributed the most to your success today, what would that be?
Uber consistent. I am like an organizational freak. I am consistent with everything that I do every single day. My wife and I have a morning routine. We don't do business before 10 a.m. So we get up at 6 o'clock every morning. The first 4 hours of every single day is our time. And that's to, have a good morning, take the dogs for a walk, work out, have breakfast, have coffee, talk about what our goals are. So when you are consistent and organized with your day, you will have a consistent and organized business.
Preach it, man. I love that. Next question is about how you recoup your energy. So where do you go? What do you do to kind of get into the Zen and rejuvenate yourself after expending energy?
So number one, I on a personal development side, I have a gratitude journal that I write in every single night before bed. I also do, Nancy and I, we do an abundance guided meditation every single night before we go to sleep. But structure wise, because I was a personal trainer, I got addicted to working a lot of hours because I was trading time for dollars. But I've realized that the less I've been working, the more money I've made. So I've had a goal of taking 6 months off day wise, 180 days off a year. So for me, I don't start my day till 10 a.m. and I don't do any business after 6 p.m. So we can have dinner together every single night. I take half days on Wednesdays and Fridays. So I only work about 4 days a week and I don't do any business once Friday afternoon hits, and I don't pick anything back up until Monday. So that's that time away from business where I'm doing all the self-care stuff, the rejuvenation of having a whole weekend where I don't have to focus on what I need to do for business. I know that I can pick it up on Monday, has allowed me not only for the physical clarity, but the mental clarity as well to show up every single day ready to give it my all for my clients.
I love that. I love that. It's amazing. We're in such our culture is very go, go, go. The more hours you put in, the more you're going to get out. And I'm with you where you need to put in, maximum effort when you're working, but in order to actually get the most out of your time, you do need that. You need the downtime. You need the time for your brain to kind of, revisit everything that you've done and create better solutions going forward. So
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to talk during this round, but I loved what you said. All right, going to the next question, and that is for your younger self. So if you could go back to the Scott who, say, was 18 years old, just getting started with his dad in business, and go to him, look him in the eye, grab his hand, and give him one piece of advice moving forward in life, what would that be?
Your failures will always open the doors to your successes.
Perfect. I love it. That is a great piece of advice, which leads us to the very last question in the quick question round. This one is about quotes. I'm a big quote fan, so I like to ask people. You may not know the entire quote verbatim, but just the gist of it is enough. So, what is one quote that really rings true for you?
Don't wait until you're gone for your legacy to be felt. Leave it while you're still living.
I love that. That's great. And this is the actual final question, which is for the listeners. You've given us tons of great wisdom, both about life through your bankruptcy stories, into actually today where you're, kicking butt in LinkedIn, sharing that wisdom with us. So people want to reach out to you. If you could give, what is the best way for them to go about getting in contact with you?
Yeah, my website, scottaaron.net. My calendar link is on there, but social media, I'm very omnipresent. I do free trainings all the time. On Facebook and LinkedIn, you can just search Scott Aaron. And if you are on IG, my handle is @ScottAaron LinkedIn, and would love to connect with you guys.
Perfect. And that is SCOTTAARON.net.
Correct. Yes.
For people listening. Awesome. Scott, again, thank you for hopping on. I had a blast talking to you. So thanks for being here. For everybody who's with us here today, thank you guys for showing up. You're the reason we do this. Again, the best way to support the show is just to subscribe, like, and share this episode with your friends and family. Other than that, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed putting it on, and we're able to pull some actionable advice that you can apply in your own investing today in the field. Before you go, we have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started, or an established investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you, available on our website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance a deal with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I am throwing in a bundle of bonuses, 7 of them to be exact. The first one will be the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating wealth in real estate. The second bonus is the A to Z REI systems and vendors guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools, systems, and even the vendors we use to see the success that we do. And the third bonus is the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target motivated sellers online using PPC ads. The fourth bonus is our contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all the contracts we use in the field to execute all different types of transactions. After that is the Investors Quick Analysis Calculator and Offer Tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automatically from those calculations. This is a lot of bonuses that I said. I'm just going to keep going down the list. Number 6 is the Investors Daily Success Tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And the last bonus is the Wholesalers Template for Quick Assignment Cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. Whew, that is a bundle. So it's a mouthful. You get all of those bonuses for free when you download the ebook. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you're interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the ebook bundle at the top of the page to take advantage of that deal. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day and even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.